Thanks for joining us for the fundraising panel. We have some really great panelists from Muscular Dystrophy Association, the 9/11 Memorial Museum, and from AACR. I'm going to actually just hand things right over to Brian Lively, who's going to be moderating this session. Brian's a consultant with a lot of different nonprofits and endurance events all across the country. He's the former VP of Sales at CrowdRise. He worked there prior to the acquisition by GoFundMe and a bit after. He's a fundraising expert, an endurance industry expert, and a lot more qualified than I am to ask these really amazing people some questions.
Awesome, thanks Allison, appreciate it. And if you were dying to know, my consultant firm is ACL Squared Consulting. That's after my two daughters who both have the same initials, not planned. It's not because I've done anything to my ACL by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm a fundraiser as well, and philanthropy just sits really close to the heart. So my years at CrowdRise, I wanted to make sure that I could continue on to work with great organizations, charities, events to really propel in the future. So I have the pleasure of serving on the board of directors for Running USA, as well as several charities, and I'm the charity director for the Detroit Marathon. So definitely in the space, and anytime I can run, I get out there running as well. So I'll let these fine folks introduce themselves as well, because they'll do that much better than I can, and then we'll get into some meat and potatoes of the questions, and save some time at the end for questions from you all. Courtney Slack, I'll hand it over.
Hi, my name is Courtney Slack. I work at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum on their events team. I've been there for about 5 years now, and each April we actually host one 5K. And that 5K might be saying, oh, you're the 9/11 Memorial Museum. Why is your 5K in April and not in September? Well, in April 2009, President Obama signed into law that September 11th would be an annual day of service. So we celebrate that law being signed in by hosting a 5K every April. So that is the one and only endurance event that we do each year.
Awesome, thank you. Amanda.
I'm Amanda Sweet. I'm the director of the Muscular Dystrophy Association for Philadelphia and Jersey. Prior to that, I worked for Susan G. Komen, and then prior to that, I was in finance. So kind of seen a lot of different industries in my career. And we facilitate 2 different events in the endurance kind of run walk space each year. We have an annual muscle walk, and then we also have our Team Momentum program, which is a program done throughout the United States, where there are different endurance running programs in different cities. This year, Team Momentum is partnering with the Rock and Roll Philadelphia Half Marathon in September, and I'm participating in that as well. So yeah, excited to be here. Thank you guys for listening in, and thank you for the sign up for having us.
Awesome, thanks Amanda. Mitch, take it away, please.
Hi, Mitch Stoller on AACR, which means American Association for Cancer Research. We're based right here in Philadelphia. We're actually the first and largest cancer organization in the world. We have over 43,000 members, and we do meetings all over the globe. But our main focus is research, finding cures for cancer. And there are over 200 forms of cancers, as many of you probably know. I'm the Chief Philanthropic Officer of the organization, and we currently are the charity partner with the Philadelphia Marathon. Some of my colleagues are in the back that actually worked with the city of Philadelphia and do a wonderful job at that event. This will be our 3rd year with the city of Philadelphia. We also created a program a few years ago called Runners for Research, and we have runners that participate in all different markets, maybe in some of your races, hopefully in some of your races. And they raise money for cancer science and cancer research. Actually, one of the people that were here, I had lunch with yesterday from Epic Races, Eva Solomon. I think Eva had to catch the plane out, but we're doing a virtual run with her, and we're thinking about developing some more virtual races as well. So great to have you here in our warm, hot city of Philadelphia.
Thank you very much. And just so we can get a feel for the room, how many charities do we have? Okay, good few. Event directors, charities and event directors. And then lastly, timers. Okay. So it's looking about a third, so now we know the audience. Awesome. I also want to thank the RunSignup / GiveSignup team for having us out today. So the one thing that I really enjoyed about working with the RunSignup GiveSignup team is that they first and foremost have their customers' interests at the top of the list. So we even have some non-RunSignup users here in the panel that they'll identify themselves and talk a little bit about that as well. But definitely improving the community and the overall space, which I think is a reason why has led them to GiveSignup. So I know they worked on that name for a little bit over a year, right? But got close to GiveSignup and made it permanent. So nice job there as well. And really, what about GiveSignup? I mean, great new technology, all in one place, so that you as event organizers, charities, timers can make great recommendations and have your charities be even more successful. So I think the whole piece about raising more, save time, and it's easy is apparent within the product. So we'll not just talk about the GiveSignup product today, but about really experiences, how we can get to a better place. So with that being said, first question we're going to kick it off with. Really distance is a thing, right? So Running USA, Athlinks, and others produce lots of stats around demographics, and one that's really popular is the 5K. It's no longer necessarily the marathon, but getting down to the half and the 5K. And I know that, Courtney, you guys produced one 5K in April. Tell us why you chose that distance and the importance of that within your fundraising space.
Sure. So we're actually a fun run. We're not timed, and our demographic is mainly first responders, military, and just those who generally care about the cause. And we're also a little bit limited. We run along lower Manhattan streets, and we actually pride ourselves on not closing any streets. So if any of you have come to New York City, you know that space is very limited. So the reason why we actually do a 5K is that we're limited in space, but also mainly for our demographic. And also it's just perfect mileage timing that we love to end right near the memorial. So it perfectly bookends our entire race.
Right, so demographic and space are definitely concerns. Yep. Awesome. Good, next question. What value does charity and fundraising in your nonprofit bring to events and or event organizers? So let's start with you, Mitch.
Well, I think great value. In the case of the AACR, we were pretty much I would say, a relatively sleepy association. A few years ago, we rebranded the organization. We felt like that we needed to bring an event into our portfolio. And what it did was it exposed our organization to many more people that would have never heard about the American Association for Cancer Research. And so I think then getting people exposed and energized and involved in an activity, they start then raising money for you, i.e. the Running Research program. And then when people start raising money for you, you have the opportunity to educate, get them to understand who you are, what you're all about, why you are a really great investment, at least in my opinion, why we are a great investment for funding cancer research. And so it's really been a win-win for us. We have thousands more people that are involved in our organization and thousands more donors that are involved in our organization. If you track back 4 years, that wouldn't have been the case. So it's been really good from an awareness perspective, but the bottom line is that, if you're going to fund research, you have to raise money, and we've got the people really energized to raise money as well.
Awesome, thank you. And why do you think the Philadelphia Marathon chose you as a charity of choice? I mean, is there any advice to the charities here that you give to them to actually pitch an event to be the charity?
I think it was kind of a mutual choice. One thing that really I so appreciate with our relationship and partnership is that the city of Philadelphia actually runs this race. And so it feels really like that we're part of a bigger, broader family. And we can, we talk about ideas, and we want the marathon currently, I think, one of the top 10 marathons in the country. We really would like to make it one of the top 5 marathons in the country. And remember also, with regard to the cancer side of this, is that prevention is a wonderful thing, and we try to encourage people to get involved in exercise, nutrition, good movement, and I think the city embraces that for us, and that's why I think it's been a really good marriage up to this point.
Awesome, thank you. And I think from a national brand like NBA, how do you choose which races and events to partner with and partake in when the mission's approved?
I think there's a lot of considerations that the Team Momentum program has taken. I think we've been around for 5 years now as a new program with the NBA, and it's very competitive because the offices want the races, they want that opportunity to advocate on a higher scale in their city. But the things that they really take away are they want to choose a race that people might be willing to travel to. So the Disney World Fun Run, the Marine Corps Marathon, the Boston Run to Remember. They chose Philly because I think people across the country are seeing Philly as a place that people are happy to come visit to and has had a lot of build up. They also consider the staff in those cities and in those areas, so it has to be staffed by a team that is a willing participant for an endurance program, and I think that varies.
And you're saying MDA National, not actually the event?
Exactly.
Okay.
MDA National is considering how the staff component will bolster the program in that location, because when you're recruiting members to join your team, you have to have that strong backing from the team there, which is like our team in Philadelphia. So I think there's a lot of considerations, and then also I think the distance is a consideration as well. It has to be worth it for the groups. It has to be worth it for the fundraising minimum. So we're looking at half marathon or higher team momentum.
Okay. And for the charities and the event directors in the room that are potentially either looking for a race to partner with or looking for a charity to partner with, and the staffing piece is so essential. What do you offer to the events as far as staffing or volunteers or anything like that would help?
Yeah, I think that we offer just raising the profile, getting people excited about it. I think that this year, we're going to have hopefully 50 runners that 45 of them have never run the rock and roll half marathon before. So I think, from the stance of the race directors, they want to get new runners in every year, right? So this makes sense. These are people that they might not have reached otherwise. So I think that's something that we add to that.
Great.
And so I would just add on that we really get very active in the marketing plan, and we put our own social media marketing plan to the run. And so basically that also encourages more people to sign up for the ACE or Philadelphia Marathon weekend. And we get involved in TV interviews and radio interviews and all the above. So I think that obviously helps the race as well.
For sure. I think what's very interesting too, it's mostly the smaller events and races that I feel, and again, just working with a lot of different events across the country, feel that there's more benefit from having a charity stance, because the charity does exactly what you just said, Mitch, right? Is that they partake in the event and they help publicize it. Now that doesn't mean large races like the Philadelphia Marathon or the Boston Marathon can't have that component as well, but it's just so much more increased publication, right? And awareness about what's going on, which is great. Yes, sir.
I have a question, since we're talking about distance.
Yeah.
And I know that both of you said that you partner with marathons. Do you have any strategies you use for people that, like we have some ultras we do, and some marathons, and we have segments that are super interested in the charity, but they're not as interested in running that long. Do you have any kind of strategies you use to try to convert them, to get them to sign up for? If someone's a 5K and you have a marathon, you're like, I love the charity, I want to be a part, I'm not so sure. Is there any kind of marketing strategies you use around that for the longer distances?
Well, for us, I wouldn't say we have a specific strategy around that, but so the weekend, there's an 8K, a half, and a full. So it's an opportunity to get somebody into the stream of running and doing an 8K, and hopefully they catch the bug, because you feel the vibe and the energy. Maybe they get up to that half marathon and then keep moving up the ladder.
I would say that's really relational too. Like that's going to be something that's fostered on a one-to-one basis with these people. From a charity standpoint, I don't necessarily encourage people to run a 5K because the fundraising minimum is a lot less. So I would much prefer something like an ultra marathon that people are really impressed with and maybe have a bigger component for giving. But I think that really comes from having a relationship at the local level of the organization and that person and building them to be that. But I definitely think that that's something that we're always considering, that's where we would see the most bang for our buck.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm from the YMCA of Montclair, and one thing that we do before we do a 10K race in the first weekend in June, and we offer a program called 10 Weeks to a 10K, where we take runners through the program and we offer it to Y members, as well as I believe we also offer it to community members, so possibly partnering with the Y or with a local run club, maybe through a running store that would be able to partner with you, and then we give a coupon code to those people who have signed up for that program, so they register and they get the race registration for free.
Yeah, we're partnered on one race with a coaching team, and they offer 50% off for a plan, or they also, on another race, they just wrote a stock plan and you can get it, for like $20 or something really cheap. And we've done that before, and then we do a lot of what he was saying is we offer smaller distances to try to get them in for that first year. And then the one race that we don't offer any of the smaller distances, we broke into a relay for the same thing. And we've noticed that very few people stay on a relay team. They do it once, and the next year they go from a relay and they run the full 8 hours next year.
Yeah, we do offer free coaching for all participants too, which I think is, new on those lines.
Which leads us into the next question. Just like technology is changing every day, so is the strategy of events from an experience standpoint. A lot of the experience for charity runners is sometimes around incentives, right? So people want more, they want a better experience, and Matt, as you mentioned, they want to travel for some of these events as well too. So what are you all doing from an incentive standpoint? Where do you want to start?
Sure. So our peer-to-peer and fundraising is extremely important to the 9/11 Museum. It is, I would say, the number one priority of our 5K. And starting 3 years ago, actually the year we transitioned to RunSignup, we started offering different price levels for the price points. So we're currently at the $25, $50, $150, $250, $500 price level. Each of those including a prize, and then once you hit the $500 level, you're considered a top fundraiser. This is really appealing to people, especially if you get to walk around, and we only give medals to our top fundraisers. People walk around and go, how do I get one of those? So that is extremely a way that we have found that people are like, I want what they have, how do I get it? Especially another way too is that we have VIP lounges, both the British and the N lounges. In the beginning, it's cold. We start about 7 o'clock in the morning, and heat is a thing that people love. So if you offer them heat, they will give you money. And at the finish line, we're also offering an experience to meet with our board. We have a very high-profile board, as well as we have partnerships with a lot of Lower Manhattan companies, one in Italy, and they offered free food to our VIP lounge last year. People walk by the lounge. How do I get into that lounge? Well, if you fundraise $500 next year, you can also get into that lounge. So once people see, oh, this is what I need to do to get that kind of incentive, we have a lot of repeat flyers each year, raising more and more money just for the cause.
A little bit of FOMO.
A little bit of FOMO.
Right. And do you have a percentage of how many runners or participants are actually in that $500 and more club?
I would say...
It's not scripted, so sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. So we have about 5,000 runners each year, and we sell out every single year. I would say about 10 to 15% of those are our 500 and plus.
That's awesome. Great, Amanda, what about you?
So we have, I had been mentioning Team Momentum, but we also have our annual walk, which I think we're going to get into a little bit, but it is free to register for that. And we've really gone back and forth about this incentive question. I feel like everybody has very strong opinions about incentives and how well they work and if they work. We're very mission-based fundraising. We have about 700 participants at our walk. They are almost exclusively people that have been touched by muscular dystrophy or ALS or one of the diseases that we cover. And we really found that what incentivizes them at times can be some of the swag and the levels, but are also really unique experiences. We offer a tour of a research lab at Penn every year. We offer for a different kind of contest prize to cut the ribbon. We've kind of found that sometimes the items or the swag don't incentivize people as much as something that's more pulling at their heartstrings or is really connected to them and their mission. And we've found some good success with some of those prizes and incentives.
But again, that's going back to knowing your audience, right?
Yeah.
The relationships that you have. So I think it even goes back to your question, sir, about some of the sold out races, Chicago, New York, Boston. People are just trying to get a charity bid and fundraising that minimum to get into it. But if you can pull at the heartstrings and develop that relationship, you'll be far better off long term. Right? Mitch, what are you guys doing?
Pretty much, traditional swag. The VIPs, being able to go to the VIP center at the marathon is a really big deal. People do enjoy doing that. So you raise a certain amount of money. I don't know exactly what you put down now. People get to go into that area. I think also being part of the community, being part of this group and community, as you said, that in the morning when the group gets together, they take pictures. They're in a heated room because it's cold. They're usually at 6 a.m. in November. I think that's a really, really nice benefit as well. And then for us, having this big group all wearing it's really trying to support the brand and really try to subliminally make sure people get that and they understand what green means AACR, means running.
Awesome, thank you. I think the next targeted segment that really affects everybody in this room is corporations, right? So for somebody like Courtney that maxes out at 5,000 participants every year, that's not necessarily driving more registration, but hopefully driving more fundraising. Corporate partners are probably going to be pretty essential. And so I know when we had a pre-call, you talked a lot about having a corporate strategy for the organization, especially with your partnerships,
yes,
the events and whatnot. If you can speak to that.
Very, very important because the companies potentially can underwrite the activity, which means that every dollar coming in, it's all profit to the organization. It's really good for the companies to be involved. We see a lot of pharmaceutical companies involved in our organization because of obviously the science and the work that we do. But then on top of all that, we get their employees involved. We get them engaged. They become part of the running program, part of the organization. So companies really make a big deal. We just introduced the Comcast Business Challenge to the Philadelphia Marathon weekend. And great opportunity for businesses to get involved, again, to promote wellness, to promote running, to promote good nutritional habits, and get them involved in an organization as well. So I've seen great progress with that.
It's great because it's really kind of fourfold, right? I mean, they're helping you talk about the race, right, from a corporate standpoint. It's wellness, it's recruiting employees, their families, just much more conversation.
It's all good. It's really good for the company.
Right.
It's great PR. There's great marketing exposure for them, but we try to take it a step further. And really, this is good for your people, the people that work for you, and ultimately that will make the company more productive, better corporate citizens.
Right. And if we tie the two together, incentives and corporations, and man, I know you have some really cool, unique things with some different corporate partnerships that help drive some of those incentives. Courtney, I know you do too, but man, if you want to start, and then Courtney, you can kind of pick up, it'd be great.
Well, yeah, we've been fortunate enough to get involved with the Philadelphia Phillies and bring them on as a channel sponsor of our walk. And, that's helped us raise the profile to a pretty rare disease community to a lot more people. And with that, obviously, we can offer some exciting, opportunities to meet some of the players. They come to the walk and various opportunities with that. But I guess I would be curious, if anybody has specific questions regarding these corporate. I'm curious to hear from the diverse audience what the challenges are with corporate partners or what the questions would be. Because it seems like an interesting audience for that.
You put the audience on the spot.
I have, yeah. I didn't know if there's anything specific. I can talk about what levels we have or what corporate strategies we have, but in an effort to be more helpful.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm just a 5K. I'm not
just a 5K, you're a 5K.
I'm 5K. I'm a great 5K.
There you go.
Super great 5K. And we do have a really neat kind of look, neat name, neat logo, but we're not terribly close to any large city or anything. We have a huge hospital, we have a huge army base, but there's not a lot of large corporation, and it is a relatively giving community, and so a lot of people are already giving to more well-established, more well-known. We've been around for 7 years now, and we're beginning to get a bit of some recognition, but we plateaued. The last 3 years, we kind of plateaued at a certain amount after we made some nice climbs. So that's kind of what I'm stuck at right now.
So are you a Ravens fan?
I am.
So you're living in Harford County.
Yes.
And so you're really a suburb of Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
What's the hospital?
Chesapeake.
Okay. And so, clearly there's a rich corporate community in the area. Is this for a charitable activity?
It is. It supports the Boys and Girls Clubs in Harford and Cecil counties.
I would think that companies would be very interested in that, especially because we're really trying to do something to help you.
Right. The issue that I often get is we're already giving to the Boys and Girls Club in some other fashion. And and I certainly appreciate that. I don't want to take away or create any new enemies. From well, we're now giving our money to catch a big 5K. But
to jump in real quick too, what are you offering the corporate sponsor?
We offer the opportunity to address the crowd at the beginning of our run for our top sponsor. And we interestingly, we have a local bank who has walked that top level, but they haven't taken advantage of doing that. I'm the one who talks about them, but they don't have anyone come up and do that.
Is there a dating opportunity?
I would certainly welcome that, yeah.
I think the reason why I asked the question, I appreciate you originally asking the question, right? So not to make anybody stretch the imagination, but I think the take I always approach corporate sponsorships with is getting in front of the right individual, right? And asking what they want. I mean, why would they want to be part of the race? So I'm not saying that this is the case, but maybe the bank doesn't want to talk to the audience. Maybe they want to pass out, purple popsicles at the end that, have ravens on, whatever it may be, right? So I do think it's making sure it's beneficial for both parties, and I think that's, potentially took a new approach on that might be, not that you haven't, right? But go ahead, Mr. Do you want to jump in? Okay. Or Amanda, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. It's a challenge for me too. That's my number one goal and my number one challenge is bringing on more corporate partners, and I'm sure we've all exhausted a lot of our resources, but it does sound like you have a unique opportunity in that there's all these other races that have somebody, and you have this naming opportunity, and you've been around for 7 years, so this is a chance for a corporation to rebrand your race, and you already have a good constituent of people that do it. So that sounds like that would be something good. And I think meeting people where they are and what they want. Like a lot of companies want this volunteer engagement opportunity. Maybe it's sending out the thank yous afterwards and having your employees for a half day, like thank yous to your to all your participants, because companies are just finding such value in engaging their employees with volunteer opportunities. That's like what I think I've seen the most. That's the trend. So I mean, it is so hard, and I know we all know how hard it is, but the creative aspect, I think, is just what we have to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a competitive marketplace out there, and trying to, you have to distinguish yourself from everybody else.
Right.
That really big key.
Right.
I would say another key piece is that a lot of people want publicity year-round. So your event happens on one day, 365, right? But if they can have a tweet in February and a Facebook post in March, and you're still talking about them year-round, I mean, that is offering a different level of value as well. Yes, sir.
Just regarding a question. So I'm with a youth running nonprofit, and I'm just curious. Some of our background on the sponsorship and sales side is on the for-profit background, which is really targeting, I think, dedicated sponsorship money. But for a charity, and now working with a charity, targeting the foundation money, I think is a different beast, one that I'm not really familiar with. How do you guys, and where do you see yourself getting marketing money versus foundation money? And is that two separate pitches, like altogether?
I think it's two separate pitches. I think that the marketing money is the money that goes from sponsorship dollars. I think it'd be very rare opportunity that a foundation, like traditional foundation giving, would give to an event. Because they're typically looking to fund a grant or a program or something of that sort. I'm not suggesting that you couldn't do it. I just think it's more, I'm looking for more marketing dollars and trying to get in front of the marketing people, the community people within a company. That's just my experience.
But also see if you can work with whoever your local media is to in-kind assistance. We've worked with local radio stations to blast our 5K on the radio and tweet about it and see what you can offer them, whether it's a couple of free registrations or access to, I don't know if you can VIP lounges, but use what you have and leverage that in kind scenarios as well.
Foundations is an interesting animal. I do feel like I pigeonhole it to one thing, and then we kind of do really well, and then I think we shouldn't sell ourselves short with that. And I think a lot of companies are trying to streamline their processes for how organizations are, applying for their dollars, and I have that success in applying for foundations because they don't want to sit with me and have me pitch this title sponsorship and stuff. They want me to put it into the computer and then they're going to send it, and it might have some events involved. So I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself too much and say that there's not opportunities in foundations.
And I would just say you should have 2 pitches, but be able to merge them if needed to, because knowing the audience, I think, is half the battle. So you can walk in and it might be, I'm in charge of marketing and foundation dollars too, right? I mean, not every organization has a CBO, right? So I think you just have to make sure that, again, you ask what are you looking for and how can we help put the 2 together. But I would say the one thing that I have learned, this is 100% across the board, is that every corporation is looking to have some type of contribution arm to them. And if it's $250 or $250,000, but everybody wants to get on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and so you just want to really research the foundation. If it's a foundation, if it's like in our case, some of the companies we do get sponsorships from, we do have to go to the board. But it is specific sponsorship dollars, and it could be restricted for that particular activity. Just really do your homework on it. Because these foundations have very rigid guidelines many times. And you just have to keep an eye out for what they're asking.
Just to drive this home, how impactful is like a Philly sponsorship to the event? I mean, is it 25%? Is it 10? What does that look like?
Yeah, this year it was probably about 15%, but I also don't even know how I could put a dollar amount on having the Phillies come, having the media come, having the players come, having the managing partner come. Obviously, I would be looking to leverage that relationship in a lot of other ways throughout the year, but we got really lucky. Like, there's very few opportunities in a professional sports. With that being said, there's a lot of companies that have some of the spending power that the Phillies have, and as hard as it can be to get in front of them, obviously, if you can, it pays off tenfold. So our wall increased over 100%.
That's awesome. So Amanda has the Phillies, Courtney has the Mets, you search. It's got to be here next year. You're gonna have the Ravens. I'm just putting it out in the space. Yeah. All right, perfect. Question for each of you. So what is your most creative fundraising suggestion, thing that you've done so far in 2019 that you're obviously willing to share with everybody else? Again, RunSignup, GiveSignup, shares knowledge. Let's get on that page. What's been the best thing you've done so far this year? I'll start.
Sure.
Awesome.
So you kind of blew my joke. I was going to say, I know I'm in Phillies territory, but so I'm a New York-based company. We have the Yankees and the Mets, but this year we actually built on our top fundraiser prize incentives. So we usually were giving away we have very close relationship with our lower hotel partners. So we were giving away stays in each of the hotels, but this year we decided to take it a step further. So each package, we had 4 packages this year, had a different element to it. So our top fundraising prize had Mets tickets. And if you listened to soccer, it had the New York City Football Club. The third was a VIP sailing experience, and the fourth, I don't think they've actually had experience. But we tie these experiences and a gift card to a food pairing or Shake Shack or anything like that. And we actually heard chatter of folks being like, oh, did you see this year they're giving away a suite at the Mets? Like, I want that. So we had that friendly competition for folks to actually get to that price point to have whatever we're going to offer them. So I would say, honestly, sky's the limit and what you're hoping to give and what you're willing to get, and kind of your point of who you can get in front of. It doesn't hurt just to ask. More than half the time I'm sending out cold emails. Anybody, I'm going to touch all the teams that are displaying hockey. Islanders, Sparky, I begged and he came to our 5K this year. So you never know what will happen. Just send me emails. The worst thing you can say is no.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're always trying to be creative in what we're coming up with. We kind of used, the neuromuscular disease community is generally degenerative muscle diseases, and we started a CrossFit competition last year to encourage athletes who do have use of their muscles to kind of do it for good. And it was the first year last year. I think we have a lot of opportunity to make it more successful, but I think it really rang. I think that people felt inclined to participate more when you give the why. You can use your muscles. Let's use them for the people who are losing some of their abilities. So yeah, just kind of, and I feel like CrossFit is pretty trendy, so we're trying to capitalize on that.
What's in the safe, Mitch?
Well, there's some things in the safe and how that the one thing we did that I think is really cool, a young man who's the starting safety for the Eagles, Rodney McLeod, he lost his grandmother to pancreatic cancer. We got to know him, and we created a program last year called Race to the Cure with Rodney McLeod 23. He's number 23. We did a promotion with 975 The Fanatic. So we were on air. They were talking about Race to the Cure. Rodney did an interview. I did an interview. And it was a drawing, and it was a package with ESPN. And if you won the drawing, it was tickets for two to it was the Eagles Redskins, and the young boy that actually won. His dad won. He brought his son. We got to meet Rodney on the field. It was a Monday Night Football game, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I wish it would raise a little more money than what it raised. Really good exposure for the organization. We're going to repeat it again this year as well.
Awesome. Has anybody ever done like a buy now button? Like buy this experience for 10K? You get to run the race? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it work? Just one. Yes, ma'am.
I actually have one more idea that I really like that you guys do with the Philly Marathon. So leading up to the marathon, AACR sends out some fundraising stories. You have these beautiful emails. It tells a story about a fundraiser and like why they're fundraising for the cause. And there's links to donate to that fundraiser's page and to sign up and join them at the race. I know that we were like forwarding some of them to each other last year. I just thought that was a really nice use of email and communicating really special stories.
Great.
My colleague Joanna Guthridge is in the back. I would congratulate her for that idea.
Joanna, this work.
Do that again.
That was really nice. I really liked those.
Good. I know we only have a couple minutes, but I want to make sure we talk about Facebook fundraising. So I don't know if Bob or who I need to give a few cocktails later to see how you got Facebook to open up the API for you to integrate, but let me know. But it's very cool, and with the ability to actually have information to go back to the GiveSignup pages, I think is going to be instrumental go forward. But is anybody using it? And if so, how's it working?
Yes, we've used it for the last 2 years, and it's integral to our success for sure. I just think that's how people fundraise now. And if you don't use it, I would advise using it. And just where there's a will, there's a way. I think that hopefully Facebook is opening up to a lot more organizations to be able to do that. But yeah, we would have half of our profits in Facebook.
Repeat that. Half?
Half of our profits, I would say, come from Facebook marketing.
That's insane.
Yeah, half. Wow.
Do you guys use the API so you're keeping track of each way? Or?
So yeah, actually we were kind of just going over that.
Give the short version.
Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, yeah.
Mitch, are you guys using it?
We use it more one-offs, like the way I think it had just kind of got started. Congratulations on developing this. And this will now be really a strong part of our strategy for our underscore research team because it's seamless now, and it will raise a lot of money. I'm pretty confident about that.
Courtney, anything to add?
I'm sorry.
Anybody that's using it really well wants to add value? All right, I saved negative 30 seconds for questions and did that on purpose. Anybody else? The whole panel will be around after, so thanks everybody for your time.